Hello, everyone. I am so excited that you are here. Today's card is all about sending some sunshine featuring Winnie the Pooh. I'll share a few Copic coloring tips and a small twist on using this fun fold die set for a different look. So let's get started and assemble this sweet card full of sunshine. I'm going to start out by coloring my image. This is the Winnie the Pooh A Brighter Day stamp set from Unity Stamp Company, and I have him stamped on some Hammermill cover paper using Memento ink, or you could use Gina K amalgam. Those work really well with Copic markers. The paper is really smooth, so the ink just kind of glides on and blends very nicely. And then Memento ink is alcohol marker friendly, so I know it won't bleed into my coloring as I get close to those lines with my markers. Now I'm starting with 3 colors of Copic markers. I like this combo. It has a nice kind of tannish undertone with a yellow overlay, which reminds me of the classic Pooh color. And what I like to do is lay down my shadow first. So I used my E53 and I kind of created a shadow along the bottom left side of his body. And I didn't touch the line. I kind of brought it in to the inside a little bit. And then I laid over a little bit of that E51 to kind of extend that shadow, and then went over everything with Y21. And then I'll come back in and do one more layer of all those colors in that exact same order to really bump the vibrancy of his coloring. As those markers kind of blend into the paper, they will lighten up and spread. So it's good to always come back and do another layer if you don't feel like it's bright enough. Now moving on to that sunflower, I have another set of 3 colors. Again, I'm going to start with my darkest color, blend that out a little bit with the medium tone, and then come in over everything with the lightest yellow tone. And this will again just kind of build up that definition and the shadowing. I like to put my shadow at the base of the petals, and then it gets lighter as we move out. That's just an easy way for me to think about shading. I don't have to think about, where the light's coming from. That's my cheater method for coloring. And then I'm coming in with some darker tones of brown for the center of the sunflower. Again, just kind of adding that dark shadow where it's closest to those petals and then letting it get lighter as it gets out towards the edge. And then after that ink kind of settled in on the petals, I'm going to come back in and do a little bit more shading, and I'm going to use some of those dark browns to really help the bottom of that sunflower really pop. Kind of creates a really heavy shadow and just really makes that image pop against the lines. And I'll just do one more layer of all those yellows to kind of really deepen up that shadow and really kind of help the vibrancy of the yellow. Moving on to the stem and the leaves. Again, I have 3 more colors of green. I tend to work in combos of 2 or 3 colors. I just like real simple coloring. I don't like to make it complicated. I'll start with my darkest here and just follow the lines of the stamp and the veins of the leaves. I'll add a dark shadow at the top where the base of the sunflower head is, and then also at the base of the stem, and then just a little bit underneath the leaves as it casts a shadow to the bottom left. And then I'll come in, kind of blend all that out with my mid-tone, and then do a final layer of the lightest green tone to kind of blend and soften everything. When I have a lot of area to cover, I'll kind of focus in one area and then move on to the next area. And then if I need to do another layer to kind of help pop those colors, I'll add another layer of markers. You can use whatever your favorite markers are. Some other very popular brands are Ohuhu and Olo markers. Both of those are a little bit more cost friendly and people seem to really like them. I have not used them, but like I said, have heard really good things, and your colors would obviously be different, but you could find something similar in their color palette, and the technique would be the same. And I'm just finishing up adding my second layer of color. You can just really tell how that color really pops and really starts to blend really nicely when you go over it a second time. Just going to extend that green down to the bottom of the image, kind of extend that grass green color. I'm only going to use two colors, focusing on the shadow kind of to the bottom left. I do like to leave a little bit of white down there. I don't like to fill it in like really heavy-handedly. I just have a sketchy kind of motion to kind of help fill in that color without being like a big block. It just looks a little bit more natural. Now you could do this with your Copic markers, but I'm going to take the easy way out and just add a sky with some ink blending. I'm using two distress ink colors and tumbled glass and bundled sage. The tumbled glass for the sky. I'm not even masking. I am being kind of light-handed, so I don't go too heavy when I get close to the image, and then I'll get heavier as I get towards the edge of my panel. And with ink blending, I like to go really light and then build up the color. So I'll do a light layer, nice circular motions that are soft and light, and then if I need to build that up, I'll come back in and do another layer. Just going to add a little bit of green at the bottom to kind of extend that green grass and kind of finish off the whole panel so it's nicely, softly colored in. So now that all the coloring is done, let's go ahead and start assembling our card. I grabbed this fun tab fold, fun fold die to make it really easy on myself. This die set includes all the layers that you need for the card. I die cut some craft cardstock and then some pattern paper from Calico Country. And then also the sentiment I die cut using the scallops and arches nesting dies. Now this die has a tab that folds over the front, which I love, but I wanted a different look to kind of stretch my supplies, so I'm just going to cut that tab off. You can see I didn't even die cut it all the way with my craft cardstock. And then there are score lines. I find it easiest to bend that paper back and then bend it forward and then use my score tool to make it nice and crisp. For the front of the card, I'm going to wrap some brown string around the panel 3 times, and then I'll tie that into a little bow. I just want to have something behind my sentiment to kind of ground it, and this adds a little bit of something to the front of the card without being too bulky. Just kind of get an idea of where that bow needs to be on that front panel, slide it into place. And then I'm just going to glue this down using some liquid glue. I am going to keep this flat just because it'll be easier to mail. So I'm going to glue that down to that front flap. And then on the inside, I'll glue my pattern paper. And then back to the front, I'm going to pop up my sentiment. I'm going to use some foam adhesive at the top and the bottom of the sentiment so it doesn't get kind of bumpy over that string. And I love how it kind of hangs over the side of that panel. Now I used that same die from the front for Winnie the Pooh, and I die cut some more craft cardstock in case I want to stamp a sentiment later or if I want to write a message. You can always put your message on the left-hand side as well, but I tend to like to put a gift card on that side. And that finishes off the card. Here is the final look. I love how easy it was to assemble the layers using the Fun Fold tab die. And of course, there's no one better to send some sunshine than Winnie the Pooh. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed crafting with me. You'll find a complete supply list on my blog and in the video description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more card making inspiration, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye!